Welcome to the Nocturne Gallery. Today, we're focusing a unique, dramatic light on a figure whose genius was, well, matched only by his chaos. Michelangelo Merisi de Caravaggio.
Yeah. When you look at Caravaggio, you're not just studying 17th century art, you're really examining drama, violence, and a fundamental challenge to the whole visual order of the time.
He's such a paradox.
The ultimate artistic paradox, really. A master painter, but also, let's face it, something of a criminal whose hand created some of the most profound images we have. Revolutionary stuff.
And the contradiction is what hooks you, isn't it? I mean, here's an artist whose creative career lasted barely 15 years.
Just a blink, really. A brief, turbulent span.
But in that short time, he was constantly bucking societal norms, religious norms, everything.
So our mission today, I think, is to trace that revolution. We need to understand how his style achieved that level of, well, shock.
And also why, even though he became maybe the most famous painter of his day, he faced such furious controversy, especially from the church.
Right. That tension is key.
Okay, let's unpack this. We probably have to start with the context, right? Late 16th century Italy.
Exactly. The dominant artistic mode was Mannerism.
Which meant what? Elegance? Sophistication?
Yeah, elegant sophistication, often elongated, very idealized, imagined figures. It was intellectual, stylized, you could say artificial.
And Caravaggio.
He just threw all that out.
Completely.
Declared himself a radical naturalist.
Okay.
He wasn't interested in the idealized or the mythological. He looked at life, right in front of him. He insisted on depicting earthly people, created from flesh and blood.
That's a huge shift. So his models weren't these, perfect visions of saints.
Not at all. They were the simple people, working class folks, vagrants, people he found in taverns, probably.
Oh.
And he brought them directly into religious settings. That was the radical point.
And that choice, it was more than just painting what he saw.
Oh, much deeper than just imitation. It was psychological. He combined this intense understanding of the human condition with his dramatic use of light and form.
Transforming reality into, what did the sources call it? Tense drama.
Exactly. Tense drama. His figures felt incredibly real, earthly. And that was a deliberate subversion of the idealized standards religious art had operated under for centuries.
You really see this focus early on, don't you? In his first period, 1592 to 1598.
Absolutely. Works like The Fortune Teller or Bacchus show that immediate attention to the commonplace person.
And those portraits, often young men, they sometimes had a bit of an erotic undertone.
They often did, yeah. Which certainly reflected the tastes of his sophisticated private patrons back then.
And this commitment to realism, it went beyond just the people he painted. Sources point out he was revolutionary even in how he viewed, the hierarchy of painting genres.
Oh, definitely. He boldly claimed that painting a still life required no less mastery than writing a figure.
Which sounds reasonable now, but back then...
There was a direct challenge. The establishment saw still life as a low genre, way beneath portraiture or big history paintings.
So he was arguing for the technical equality of all subjects.
Pretty much. And you believe him when you look at the work. The technical skill in his single surviving sort of pure still life basket of fruit. It's just stunning.
The texture of the fruit, but also that hint of decay, right? The browning leaves, the little blemishes.
It's a celebration of skill applied to the perishable reality of life itself. And even his early compositions, they constantly have these intensely realistic still life bits right in the foreground.
Proving his point.
Yeah, proving it took enormous skill.
Okay, so the subject matter was radical, but we have to talk about the way he actually painted. That signature move, the light and shadow. Chiaroscuro.
Yes. This is where he really changed the game. Everyone before him used light, obviously, but Caravaggio, he weaponized it.
Weaponized it. How so?
Well, this extreme contrast between dark and light, it wasn't subtle or decorative, it was functional.
So why wasn't it just, gimmicky? What purpose did that extreme contrast serve? It looks so dramatic.
It was designed specifically to create an atmosphere of severe dramatic tension, strong emotion.
Okay.
It was meant to hit the viewer hard, impacting both their feelings and their intellect almost immediately, forcing this sudden visceral connection to the scene.
But the illumination itself is strange. It's often called unreal.
It is unreal.
Like a spotlight from off stage, hitting just the key features.
Exactly. That unreal quality is key. It's an external source, often high up, creating deep relief in these incredibly sharp shadows.
And what's fascinating is that he was apparently breaking the rules doing this.
Actively flouting centuries of artistic advice.
Wait, what rule was he breaking? Who said not to do that?
Well, Renaissance masters, even Leonardo da Vinci, generally advised against this kind of harsh, high-contrast lighting, and definitely against sharp-cast shadows.
Why?
They thought it would disrupt compositional harmony, make the scene look vulgar or just overly dramatic. They preferred, gradual, smooth transitions of light.
But Caravaggio just leaned into the sharpness, embraced it.
He did, and the result is this powerful visual illusion. By mastering those shadows, he created an optical effect. The sharp shadows he casts, say, from a hand or an elbow, or that basket of fruit we mentioned, they're so pronounced that the object appears to physically project out of the canvas towards you, the viewer.
Making the scene feel confrontational.
Confrontational and immersive, yeah. It pulls you right into the darkness with the figures.
Speaking of confrontation, let's look at his career arc. He arrives in Rome around 1592, struggling at first.
Yeah, finding work was difficult initially. But by the mid-1590s, he found his key connection.
That would be Cardinal Francesco del Monte.
Exactly. His raw talent caught the cardinal's eye. Del Monte became his critical patron, giving him security, connections, the ultimate springboard, really.
And that patronage led pretty directly to his public breakthrough, didn't it, around 1600?
Yes, his first major public commission, the Contrelli Chapel, the Calling of St. Matthew, and the Martyrdom of St. Matthew.
Those paintings just cemented his reputation overnight, practically.
His reputation soared. He became, arguably, the most famous Italian artist of the 17th century.
Yeah.
Other artists valued his work highly, imitated him widely. That whole first quarter of the century was really under the sign of Caravaggio.
So a superstar. But here's the tension again. While the art world loved him, he was constantly battling the church establishment.
Even though he was getting these prestigious religious commissions, several of his key altarpieces were flat out rejected.
Why? What was the official reason?
They were rejected because his extreme naturalism, his realism, was seen as unworthy or even indecent.
Indecent?
Yeah. His opponents found it absolutely unacceptable to portray sacred figures with such grounding in reality. They felt it lacked reverence, proper piety.
This gets right to the heart of the conflict, doesn't it? Why would the church hire the most famous, most cutting-edge artist of the age?
And then declare his finished work shocking. Yeah.
Makes no sense on the surface.
Well, you have to remember the context again, the Counter-Reformation. After the Protestant challenge, the Catholic Church demanded art that was clear, inspiring, didactic, and absolutely idealized.
And Caravaggio's raw reality just failed that test.
Completely failed the theological test for many.
Can you give us specifics? What exactly did they find so offensive about, say, the first version of St. Matthew and the Angel?
Okay, that one, from 1602. It was rejected partly because St. Matthew looked like, well, an illiterate common man, not the noble scholar they expected.
Right.
But the killer detail the thing often cited was his exposed naked feet.
Bare feet. Dirty feet, probably, in a religious painting.
Yes. Feet were considered the lowest, most earthly, potentially unclean part of the body. To display them so prominently on a saint, it was seen as profoundly lacking in reverence. It suggested the divine could dwell in the, unwashed and common.
Wow. Okay, and it gets even more volatile with the death of the Virgin, right?
Oh, absolutely. That was rejected around 1605 or 06. Why?
Yeah.
Because Mary was depicted as a truly dead person.
Not just sleeping peacefully or ascending.
No. A shockingly realistic corpse. Not the canonical tradition at all. She was shown with a swollen body and, again, bare feet.
Okay, I can see the theological issue with breaking tradition like that. But wasn't there also a rumor about the model he used for Mary?
There was indeed. A persistent rumor that his model was actually a drowned prostitute they'd fished out of the Tiber River.
Good grief.
Now, whether that's literally true or not, who knows? But the rumor itself perfectly captures the anxiety the church felt. Here's this incredibly famous, successful artist using profane, earthly, maybe even scandalous subjects to depict the most sacred figures.
It's an incredible clash, yet maybe the most amazing part of the story is what happened to those rejected paintings. They didn't just vanish.
Not at all. They immediately became the hottest items for private collectors in Rome.
The moment the church said no.
The most powerful connoisseurs and elite collectors said, "We'll take it." They valued the drama, the skill, the raw power over the church's demand for idealized reverence.
Like Marquis Vincenzo Giustiniani, he bought that rejected St. Matthew.
He did, and ultimately owned something like 15 of Caravaggio's works. That just shows the immense private demand for his revolutionary style, even if the church couldn't handle it.
And then there's Cardinal Scipione Borghese, he didn't even wait for rejection sometimes, did he?
No.
Yeah.
He acquired the rejected Madonna and the Serpent, but then also used his high status to, well, aggressively confiscate other works. Like the Small Sick Bacchus, which might be a self-portrait.
Aggressively confiscate.
Let's just say he knew how to use his influence.
Yeah.
His collection today, with 6 paintings, is still the most representative collection of Caravaggio anywhere.
So you see this incredible dynamic. The religious establishment demands idealization, but the wealthy elite craves that gritty, dramatic, intensely real vision.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And though his career was tragically short, I mean, he killed a man in a brawl in 1606.
Right, and spent his last 4 years basically on the run in exile.
Yeah, a desperate end. But his fame absolutely survived him. That brief 15-year flashpoint was enough. It fundamentally changed painting.
His artistic achievements, that synthesis of dramatic light and realism, it profoundly influenced his contemporaries, didn't it?
It spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
His style, that marriage of profound psychological depth and this theatrical, almost cinematic light, it wasn't just contained in Italy.
It went international.
Quickly, it spread its influence across France, England, Spain, the Netherlands, the first generation of Baroque artists all across Europe. They were looking through the lens of Caravaggio. He set the stage.
What really stands out then, wrapping this up, is that cycle we've talked about. This absolute genius who synthesized dramatic light, raw realism, deep emotion.
Yet was consistently rejected as scandalous, often by the very institutions like the church he sought to serve.
And that very rejection created this instant parallel market among the elite, who valued the exact things the church found indecent. So maybe this is the question for you to mull over. When a groundbreaking artistic vision is deemed scandalous, unfit for public display, only to be instantly snapped up and protected by private connoisseurs, what does that immediate tension tell us about how we establish value in masterpieces today?
And what ultimately does it take for a scandalous artistic vision to become, a canonical one? Something we now see as foundational.
A provocative thought indeed.
Something to carry into your day.
Thanks for joining us for this look into the dramatic life and revolutionary art of Caravaggio.